Okay, so I'm going to cover off the cost of restoring a pinball machine and what's involved in restoring a pinball machine. Now, it's a complicated job, as you can imagine, to restore a pinball machine. And I just want to talk you through what's actually involved so you can understand the complexities with it, which is why I've got a pinball playfield here. So if you're going to buy a pinball machine and it's old and worn, so we've got here, this is the playfield from, and I'm going to be careful picking it up, there's loads of staples in the back. This is from an 8-ball deluxe. So we've got an 8-ball deluxe sat behind me there. This is the playfield from an 8-ball deluxe, and you can see how worn it is. So this is 1982 this would have come out, and you can see the wear that you get on the playfield there, and it's not easy to deal with, you know. So you could try hand painting in all the pieces that are worn, and it does take a lot of skill, a very steady hand with it, and then you could apply a clear coat of lacquer across the top of it to protect it going forwards. But to do that sort of work, you do need to take everything off the playfield. If you imagine everything that's attached to the playfield, you've got to take all of that out and take everything out of the back to then be able to clean it properly and then to be able to fix everything back in. You can literally see here all the little holes where the bulbs shine through, all the attachments, these are all screws going into here. You've got all the wiring was all held by staples, and you can see what would be involved, you know, in tackling this. It is not for the faint-hearted to tackle a playfield replacement. It's a massive job. So you can either try and restore the playfield, as I just described there. You can get playfield overlays. So 8-ball deluxe is a great example of that. You can actually buy like a vinyl overlay that goes over the playfield. You sort of stick it down on there. Again, obviously you've got to take everything off. You can stick it down on there. But in examples that I've seen, although they do look good, if that comes unstuck and starts to raise, it will deviate the path of the ball on there. So it's not absolutely ideal. Sometimes you can find NOS or NOS or new old stock playfields. They are really rare now. Most people have sort of hoovered up any old stock of old playfields that have never been used to restore pinball machines, and they will, if you do find one, they'll change hands at sort of silly money. Depends what the game is. But you're looking at £800, probably £1,000 to buy one of these old playfields that is still actually brand new, to be able to restore a pinball machine. And then obviously imagine the amount of work that's involved and the technical skill. There are very few people actually restoring pinball machines in the UK now. We don't go through pinballs and take them all apart and put new playfields in them, just because the amount of time and effort that goes into doing that, it just takes ages. Really, it's a labour of love for enthusiasts who want to do it. They enjoy doing it. They want to go through a pinball machine and put a brand new playfield in there. To fix the exteriors on a pinball machine is the most common thing to do is to basically, let's put this out of the way, is to replace the decals or decals. People pronounce it in different ways, I call them decals. So the artwork that's on the front, the sides and the side of the back boxes, people do go through replacing those. It's common for them to fade, and therefore people would like to have brand new fresh artwork on there. Certain machines fade worse than others, so I don't know, Fishtails for example does fade quite a lot, Getaway fades quite a lot. Other machines tend to sort of keep their colours. Circus Voltaire does tend to keep its colours really quite well. It depends where it's been stored and where it's been played, but you can get replacement art packages on the internet. Loads of companies in the States make them, you get them in Europe as well. It is an involved job to do though, because you need to remove all of the existing artwork, and that's hard work and involves a lot of sanding. So you really need to take all the playfield out, take everything out of it, so you've just got the cabinet, and then you can replace the artwork on there. And it's a skilled job getting that off, filling the wood that's there. So the plywood is generally what all the cabinets are made of, and then what the good guys do is to then paint everything and then let that dry and then put the artwork on there, and there's a real skill with applying that. And there are some people that have been renowned in the past as being fantastic at doing that sort of work, and people would send their games to them to get them to do it. But again, it's expensive. You know, for people actually doing that and charging for it, you can't charge too much because people won't pay it, but for the amount of time and love and effort that goes into doing it, it's a difficult job. In other words, in terms of restoring other pieces, it is actually quite easy to do some things. So a lot of the plastics on there, so they'll become cracked or damaged or missing. You can buy most of those on the internet, and a lot of those are just a matter of just unscrewing the old piece, screw the new piece on there, and actually you can replace those and do that. So what we tend to do with the machines that come through us is we go through everything on them. We'll tend to take most of the stuff off the play field, just to be able to give everything a really good clean. So that's quite easy for people to do. I mean, it depends how technical you are and how worried you are about actually breaking more than you fix. I personally break far more than I fix, so I don't tend to do that with my machines. But what we'll do, our engineer here will go through the machine, give it all a clean. If we've got cracked or broken plastics, we'll generally replace those if they're still available on there. You can replace the bulbs. If there's wiring or there's parts that you need, you can replace those. So that's the process that we'll go through it. So we make sure that machines that we buy are cosmetically very good. They don't have loads of wear on the cabinet, don't have loads of wear on the play field, and that the bits that do need work on them, that we're able to do to make the machine as nice as we can, but maintain that originality. Because again, a lot of people don't want to buy a reproduction play field or a re-decaled cabinet. They're not so keen on that. They'd rather have an original in the main, unless the work's been done really well. So hopefully that's taken you through and given you a bit of an idea of what's involved in restoring a pinball machine.